On this episode of Adventures with Boog, we go over our fishing setup. On this Adventure with Boog, we go over our Novacraft canoe and how we go on our adventures. Alright, so to start off our canoe walkthrough, I'll start at the back end and work our way forward. So at the back end here, we have a 50-pound thrust Minnkota Endura Max trolling motor hooked up to the Minnkota trolling motor power center. The reason I went with these two kind of setups is this motor has more than enough power to push our canoe around the lake, and with the Endura Max technology, it lasts forever. We'll go out there, we control for 3, 4, 5 hours and still have 3/4 battery left. It's got lots of power, it moves our canoe all over the lake, and it's a great little motor. It does a great job for us. The reason I went with this Minnkota power center is it's not really necessary. You could easily just hook the trolling motor straight up to the battery and run with that. But they do recommend that you put a breaker between the motor wires and the battery just in case you have a short circuit or anything like that. So that breaker is about 40-45 bucks, and this whole battery pack with power ports, test light on top, and the plastic was only 80 bucks. So that's not a bad deal, so I went with that. It looks clean in the boat, it's nice and compact, and with these nice little covered protected wing nuts, it does a great job of keeping us all safe away from short circuits in the boat. Alright, so moving up the boat, we've got a couple things in this shot here. We've got our fishing rod holders, our fish finder, and our cushioned seats. So I'll start off with our fishing rod holders. So these were Bass Pro fishing rod holders. I just have them bolted into the side of the canoe. It does a great job. We only have used them once so far, but we've had no issues with them. We used them in the walleye, big fish walleye and pike challenge, and they did a great job. Booger caught the most fish there and definitely won, and she was just having a dead stick sitting in this rod holder, and she was pulling those walleye out all day. Now I'll move forward to our fish finder. So our fish finder is a Garmin Striker 4 CV. It's a great little unit, uses very little power, so I hook it up to the battery with the trolling motor, and we had no issues with it draining the battery a whole bunch or anything like that. The transducer mounts just underneath the rear seat and goes right through the bottom of the canoe. All you have to do is pour a little bit of water in the foam holding bracket, and then it works right through the bottom of the canoe. It's nice and safe. It doesn't fall in the water. You don't lose it. One of the big reasons that we picked to go with this fish finder is it's very robust and basically entirely waterproof. So in a canoe, obviously you're going to get splashes, the fish coming over the side, big waves come a bit in the boat, and you're going to have water in the canoe. So you need to get a fish finder that has water in, has waterproof status or a waterproof kind of case or something like that on it to make sure that you aren't going to have any issues with water in your canoe. Also, this fish finder was a good price. It was only 200 bucks. It does a great job, and we found lots of fish using it, and lots of it also has a GPS technology, which is really good for when you're out on the water. You find a good fishing spot and you want to come back to it maybe a day, a week, a month later. You can mark that spot on this fish finder, and you can easily go back to there the next day or week or month, which is really, really nice. Both the rear and front seats here are a Woods canoe seat. This one's just mucked. So both our rear and front seats are the Woods canoe seats. They're actually specifically designed to go into a canoe. They have straps on the bottom that lock it onto the seats, and they are very nice, lightweight, and they kind of actually hold up against the gunnels of the canoe, which helps when you're leaning back, just relaxing out in the sun. The only complaint I do have about these Woods seats is the cushions are ridiculously hard. So if you're looking for something that's going to make your canoe comfier, it's not going to help that much, but it definitely does help with the back support. That's the one thing I was really looking for me personally, was definitely to have something with the back support. Although the cushion is basically sitting on a brick, the back support is really, really nice to have. Moving up towards the front end of the canoe, we have a couple things that are usually stored in the front end of the canoe to keep them out of the way. So we do have a set of 2 paddles. Obviously, you need paddles in a canoe and basically any boat, just in case your motor dies or anything like that. But also for getting on and off the shore, it works really great. And also if you just want to go for a nice, really relaxing time out on the water, you can definitely take your paddles out and paddle around the lake, no problems with this canoe. Also, here you can see one of the rods in the rod holder. Very simple little setup. It helps to keep the rods out of the bottom of the canoe. And especially with booger in the bottom of the canoe, having the rods out of the canoe helps to keep hooks and her stepping on the rods stops her from breaking them. And yeah, it's just a little bit safer for everybody there. Again, we have our Woods canoe seat up front for Sydney. That works great. She enjoys it. Yeah, not a bad deal. One thing we always also have in our boat is a little Fox 40 Essentials kit. Bailing bucket, mirror, flashlight, whistle, rope. Everything you need just in case of an emergency out on the water. It's a very good little kit. I think it's 10 bucks at Canadian Tire. Great to pick it up, put it in your boat, put it in your canoe. Make sure you have one of these on you at all times. Right here, we have our cross member for our Outriggers. So we do have some Outrigger floats that go on the outside of our canoe. We haven't used them yet. They were just finished building them the other day, to be honest with you. So hopefully this weekend we'll get them out on the water and see how they perform, and then I'll do a little review on those guys. Also, we carry just a 1 pound little grappling hook canoe anchor. This works very good. It keeps you in place if there's not too much wind. It just kind of holds you in the spot there. Also, depending on what kind of bottom you got. If you got something that's really hard, this obviously isn't going to grab it into it at all. But we got it hooked up to 100 feet of paracord with a little float. And the reason we have a float on there is sometimes when you're out on the water, you'll be hooked up to your anchor or whatever, and a big boat might come by. And we've had situations where they come by wake surfing and there's 3-foot waves. So we just basically dump the anchor with the float hooked up to it, take the canoe, put it straight into the waves, drive over them, come back and hook right back up to our anchor. No issues, just like that. One last thing I just want to go over is our Portage Cart. So it's a very simple little cart. It does fold up nice and compact for when we have it in the truck or just stored by the camper. It works very good. It's pretty lightweight. It does need to be a little bit wider for the canoe. It is a little bit, the pads are a little bit skinny. Might work a little bit better for a kayak. But it does haul our canoe, and our canoe's all put together and everything's over 100 pounds. So to put it on here, we can easily just move it around just like a little wagon, and it does a great job of it. No issues at all. So one last thing every good boat's got to have is a name. Right here, we got Hey There Delilah. That's the name of our canoe. We love her. She's a great little boat. Made for some great times this summer and great times to come in the future with me and Boog. Alright, that concludes this episode of Adventures with Boog. That's our canoe and its setup. If you guys have any questions about any specific parts of our setup, leave a comment down below. Let us know what you would like to hear about in more detail. Give us a like and subscribe. Also, if you haven't seen our fishing videos, check the video up here. And if you've already seen that one, check this one down here. As always, hook sets are free, and have a great night.